the information is out there, but if you're not gonna pay the price, you're gonna pay in time.
Boom.
So
there
I
you
love
go.
that.
And you still may not know if you're doing it right. It pays to have someone looking over your shoulder for the first few. The errors and mistakes are exponential.
Yeah.
First deal could be your last.
You don't want checkmate on the first one.
Welcome to the Deals and Aloha podcast, where we talk about real estate deals, hope to leave a lasting impact on our audience, and of course, spread aloha.
Gee.
You can find us on all social media platforms at Kamohai and Tristan. Please like, subscribe, and share. And here we go.
Here we go. Today we have the first guy who actually gave us a shot
Yes.
and
Yep.
funded our first deal, Mr. Cory Nemoto from KÉCO Capital. When I asked him about how I should intro him, he was like, I don't know. I have a team, but they do everything, him and his team. So I'll let him just talk about it. But thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
welcome,
guys.
man. So
Yeah.
stoked to have you on,
Thank you for having me on.
honestly.
Yeah, no, it's an honor. It's kind of crazy. Full circle.
Yeah, totally.
It's insane.
It's been inspiring watching your guys' growth over the last couple years,
Yeah.
especially the last couple years
Yeah.
through COVID,
Yeah, through
Right.
COVID.
some uncertain times.
Right. We got to talk about that loan. That
Oh
was
my
a fun
gosh.
one.
Oh my gosh. But let's just jump in. So how did you get into real estate?
I got into real estate through, I think it's the pretty common path. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
And blew my mind, changed my world.
Yeah.
And I think I already had that entrepreneur spirit inside of me. And my father was telling me for years to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So because I think he saw it in me.
Yeah.
And so I had other business ventures that I started. My last one was a supplement company.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
sports supplement
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I private labeled supplements, and then I would sell it on Amazon.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So, but I quickly realized how nasty and brutal the sports supplement industry is.
Oh, I'm sure.
'Cause,
Yeah. I can
man,
only imagine.
Yeah, I got crushed out there. Well, at first I was doing really well, and
Yeah.
then my products started ranking towards the top of the first page, and just like sales coming in, and
Nice.
then all of a sudden I opened my app one day and it's just zero. I was like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because usually I have at least a few sales by the time I wake up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think one of my competitors, they bought the product, they left a bad review, and then they also flagged my product with Amazon
Dang.
What?
for something like an
Oh
ingredient
my
or something.
God.
Yeah.
And so Amazon, like with no like
Investigation.
yeah, they just shut me down, you
Shut
know.
you down
So then I
totally.
realized real quick, it's like, wow, okay, like I'm not really in control.
Yeah.
You know, like this isn't
yeah.
really my business. You know, I'm like selling on Amazon.
Yeah.
So, but I always had that spirit in me, I feel. And my dad I think he noticed that. And so I read the book, and I was in the last year of college.
Okay.
And I was like a career student. It took me like 7 years to get my 4-year degree.
Same. Took me 8 years.
So
No comment.
yeah. But I had a lot of student loans, a lot of debt,
Yeah.
and it was kind of scary the last year, right? Because it's like okay, I'm finally gonna graduate.
Yeah.
My degree was in exercise science and marketing, so I realized that last year is like I don't want to do this. You know,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't want to be a physical therapist. I don't want to go into this field. I just spent thousands of dollars on a degree that I'm probably like not going to use, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was I was getting a little bit anxious
Yeah.
and worried.
Mm-hmm.
So
To say the least, right?
yeah, so finally I just picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad. I always had it with me for some reason, my dad's book, and I read it in like almost a day. And
Nice.
I probably would have read it, but I had like exams coming up at that time too. So, but I read the book, and everything that Robert Kiyosaki was saying in the book kind of just struck a chord with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, finally someone who's saying that there's another way.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to follow. In fact, he's against it. You know,
Yeah.
the sure way not to get rich is to go to school, get a job, and save.
What did he say? What did he say when we were at Clever? He's like, they're all communists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, now he's like
He's pretty extreme.
He's super extreme.
He was
super
like, oh
extreme.
yeah, if you want to get a job and go whatever, you're a communist. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that book kind of just inspired me to search for more.
Yeah.
You know, so at that time I was going to Cal Baptist University, which is Southern California,
Okay.
in Riverside.
Yep.
Riverside, California. So I think it was in his book he mentions that, you know, to first get started, just go to your local RIA clubs.
Totally.
Right.
You know, so and while I was driving, I would always see this bandit sign on the side of the freeway that said real estate investor seeks apprentice or something like that.
Okay.
Earn while you learn or something.
Yeah.
So I called the numbers and then left a voicemail. Someone ended up calling me back a little later, and I was Googling at the same time, like what, you know, real estate investing club in Riverside.
Right.
And then New Wealth Advisors Club showed up, which is Melina and Dave Boswell.
Right.
And
Right.
so I turned out that the person who called me back off the sign was actually from New Wealth. So it was one of their guys that put the sign up.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let me go to this.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I went to their intro program, and that was the first kind of meetup that I went to or club.
Yeah.
And so they had training. Like they have a training program, but it's like none I've ever seen. And so, but when I first got there, they were Melina and her late husband Dave were on stage, and I was like, wow, these people are saying exactly what I need to
You're
hear.
speaking to my
They're
soul.
speaking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they seemed like genuine people, and it wasn't salesy.
Yeah.
You know, it felt more family oriented. And so I left that place like thinking I'm gonna be back. Like I need to come back.
Yeah.
And I did. And I met another investor, and it was his name was Anthony. It was Anthony and Tony, and they were our partners at the time, I guess. And so when I went there again, we had the networking sessions at the end, right? And so Anthony came up to me, and he was super nice, and he was saying like, oh, you know, what are you interested in real estate for? And then he asked me for my business card. I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So I just wrote my name and number on a piece of paper and gave it to him.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, he called me, and because they were looking for, actually Tony called me, and they were looking for people who are willing to go work with them. But more work for them. Right?
Work for them.
Apprentice.
Work for them and
Intern.
learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they called me, they asked if I was interested. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, really, me? You know? It's like, you know, I'm a broke college kid, right?
I don't know very much. Like,
I have
this is
no
my
idea what I'm
first,
doing.
Like, thing. So
Yeah, so it was I met them, and it's a funny story. I've told this a few times, but when I first met Anthony and Tony for business, it was at a Starbucks on La Sierra. And now La Sierra is long, it's a long street. It'll go through different like neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
And so right before the meeting, like Tony called me, I think it was the day before, and he said, hey, just want to say, like, just make sure you're not late. You know? So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'll be there early, right? And so after, I was like, that was kind of weird.
yeah, that is kind of weird.
You know, like,
You're like, no, I feel weird.
Yeah.
Like,
So then the next day came, I left the house early, got to Starbucks early, and then I'm waiting, and then like 5 after, there's like 7 after, I'm like, and then finally my phone rings, and it's Tony, so I answer the phone. I'm like, hey, Tony. He's like, where are you? Like, I was like,
I'm
I'm
here.
on Starbucks on La Sierra. You know, and he's like, which Starbucks? And I was like, oh no. I was like, which Starbucks? He's like, oh, you're on the wrong one. It's on the other side. I was like, no. I was like, I'm going to leave right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I left that
you're
place
like, I'm
so
not
quick.
late, I promise.
Oh, no, yeah. The whole drive there. I know it's only like 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
But the whole 2 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, I'm
Messed
such
it
an
up
idiot.
already.
Before I
Such
even
an
started,
idiot.
yeah.
So I came in there. Anthony's waiting. Tony's waiting. There's an empty chair right there.
Yeah.
Pull up the chair. It was freezing too at that time. And I mean, Southern California doesn't get that cold,
It's
but if you're
cold
not
for
prepared
here.
for it,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in the desert, right?
Yeah.
So, and so I sat down, and right away, I just the tone of the meeting was kind of serious already, and just like, I'm so sorry I'm late. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I was on the wrong one.
Yeah.
And then Anthony just kind of said, like, it's okay if Tony knows that, or told me that, you're from out of town, so he said, but honestly, like, if it was for any other reason, like, I would have been gone.
You're done.
Oh my gosh.
So he said, and then the next thing he asked me was, why real estate? He's like, so why real estate? Like, he was a totally different guy from the night I met him.
Yeah.
He's like
It's
serious.
go time now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I, for some reason, I didn't know how to answer that question. Because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad said, go find a
do
club
it.
and
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
and for some reason, I was embarrassed to say that, I'm here because I read a book.
Yeah.
I didn't know how popular that book was.
Right.
And how many lives that book has changed.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say why I'm here, because he said, before I answered, he wrote down on a piece of paper. It's kind of dramatic, but he wrote down 2 words, and he slid it to me across the table. He said, look, if you're here for any of these 2 reasons, then this conversation's over, and we'll part as friends, but we can't do business together.
Okay.
And the 2 words were money
Yeah.
and notoriety, or the fame.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
Attention, yeah.
and so I was thinking about it, and the notoriety and fame, like, I didn't care about that.
Right.
No.
To this day,
Yeah.
I'm an introvert. I'd rather be not in the spotlight, to
Totally.
be honest.
Same.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, because
Yeah.
somehow, like, we make
There
our
you
way.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
Exactly.
happens. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, but then I was thinking, well, I'm kind of here to make money. You
Like,
know?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
I
need
want to
to-
make
Like,
money.
I need
like,
to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, I'm not gonna make money here. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I am in the wrong place.
yeah.
No, but I didn't know how to answer his question, and so that was the first time that someone asked me what my why was.
Yeah.
Right.
So someone's never asked me, like, why
Yeah.
real estate, or what's my purpose,
Right.
and what's driving me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, you know what, just go back home and email me your why. And I'll look at it, and if it's good, if it's good and we fit, then we'll call you back and we'll rock and roll.
Nice.
And so I said, okay. So I sent my email, and I took a lot of time on
Yeah.
it, and I sent it out. It must have been good enough, because they called me back.
Nice.
So, and our next meeting at Starbucks again was more of explaining what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he told me, he's like, hey, look, if the reason why I asked you what your why was, it's because if it was for money, if you're here to make money, and if you're here for the notoriety or some sort of fame that you're a real estate investor, he said, then you're never going to make it.
Yeah.
Because he said, you need something stronger, because
Yeah.
what we're going to make you do is going to be so uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said, especially you, because he could tell I was just like a
Yeah.
shy,
Right,
introverted
right,
kid.
right.
Yeah.
And so he said that when we're going to give you a list of people, of names, of addresses, he says, we want you to go and knock on every single door that's on this list.
Door knocking.
And he said, not just that one, but knock on the neighbors' doors. And he's like, here's why. And because this was like 2012, early 2012. And so the market was still recovering, especially
Yeah.
in Southern California.
Yep.
So there was a lot of people who are upside down.
Yeah.
So they were doing this strategy that I later kind of researched to see if anyone else was doing it. But they were on the forums, they refer to it as backflipping. So what they would do is they would find homeowners who had basically 4 criteria. They had to be upside down on their mortgage, right?
Right.
They had to have been current with their payments, so their credit's still good.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they had to have wanted to stay in the house.
Okay.
The 4th one, man, I can't even remember what the 4th one was. Maybe I'll remember as we go
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
But, so my job was to go knock on the doors and of these names. So I know they're upside down because their name's on the list.
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
and it was unpleasant, man. Let
I'm
me tell
sure.
you, like, it was like, I would have to sit in my car and literally talk myself to get out of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I doing
Like,
this?
yeah. So, and so I would go and knock on the doors, and then anyone who fit that criteria, I would just get their contact information if they're willing, and then give it to them. You know,
Nice.
so, and that's it. And so after a while, I would be like, I was knocking on these doors, sending a few names and numbers.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I was like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. I could be scamming these people for all I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I have
Right.
no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
And so, because they would ask me questions too, and I wouldn't know how to answer them. You know, so finally I asked Tony and Anthony. I was like, guys, can I learn a little bit more about
Yeah.
what you guys are doing?
Maybe
Like,
more
Right.
background
Yeah.
information.
like I didn't want to question them or anything,
Yeah.
like to rub them the wrong way or
Yeah.
anything. But they're like, oh yeah, and they're saying, okay, here's what we're doing. Okay, so people who are upside down on their mortgage, right? They're stuck.
Yeah.
And so they can't sell it unless they want to pay the difference to pay down the loan.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So, and the last thing was it had to be a jumbo loan. Okay, so it had to be a non-conforming mortgage. That's a
Right.
very important part,
Yes,
actually.
yes.
So, in Riverside at the time, I think anything above
Was a
$450,000
jumbo.
was considered non-conforming.
Okay.
A jumbo loan.
Yeah.
So a non-conforming loan means that the note holder cannot sell it to the secondary market,
Got it.
Fannie Mae,
Right.
right? So they have to keep it on the books, right? And now, since it's upside down now, since the
Yeah.
market went down, it's a dangerous asset. Right? It's a
Right.
high risk asset. It's a toxic asset
For the
Right.
lender,
For
right?
the
for the
lender.
lender.
Yeah.
For the lender. So the lender's stuck too.
Yeah.
And so what the strategy that they were doing was they would go and negotiate with the bank to buy the note at a discount. And then
Just
they
to get it off their books.
just to help them liquidate, because
Yeah.
at the time that was very valuable for the banks. They
Right.
needed cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and it was a high risk loan at the time, even though they're still paying.
Right.
So, and then we'd have the homeowner go and refinance. So
okay.
they refinance the loan. So, for example, perhaps the loan amount was 1.2 million. Okay. And the property was worth $1 million. So they're upside down 200 grand. Right. So Anthony and his team, the legal team and stuff would have to go and negotiate with the banks to buy it at maybe 800.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
they'd buy the note at 800,000. They would go and have the homeowner refi at maybe like 900. You know, so
At the same time this is happening?
at the same, yeah, this is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know the intricacies of how
Yeah.
they did that
Right.
because
I
I
know.
wasn't a part of
I'm
that.
like, did
Yeah.
they get power of attorney? Like, how did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the investor would make 100 grand just
Right.
for flipping the note.
Yep.
But they get to stay in their house.
Yeah, and the homeowner gets to keep their house, and
Wow.
now instead of being upside down, they actually have 100 worth of equity possibly,
Right.
right? So, and then the banks got to liquidate a toxic asset.
Yeah.
So
That's
everybody
win,
won.
win,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and from that experience, after I learned what they were doing, I was like, wow, okay. I thought real estate investing was you're just a landlord. You just
Yeah.
buy and rent,
Right.
right? So, that opened my eyes to like, wow, what other strategies are there, right? And so, I continued to go to the New Wealth Advisors Club and their meetings. Sit in the back, joke about it now with them because we have reconnected since
Yeah.
then.
You
It's,
guys
are-
it's
yeah.
an amazing
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would sit in the back of the room, closest to the exit, you know, like not ask any questions,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And like I would just take notes though, and every time I would hear a word that I didn't understand, like I would write it down because
Right.
I was too shy to raise my hand
To
and
ask what that
you know?
meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then I would go home and have to Google it and like piece it all together. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that meant, you know?
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
that's how I had to learn because
Yeah.
that's the price of admission for an introvert. You know?
Yeah.
And so we ended up reconnecting years later with Melina and their New Wealth family, and telling all these stories and stuff. I told her about Anthony and, you know, like, and
Yeah.
when they're asking, oh, who was your mentor, you know, your coach, or, you know,
Right.
and I was like, oh, Anthony. and Tony, and they're like, oh, so I guess, you know.
So they had a reputation then.
I guess so, but a good one though.
Yeah.
Right,
But,
right. A good one. Yeah.
But I guess he is known to be a little hard,
Yeah.
right? Like,
No.
and so I was telling Melina like how, like what Anthony did for me, because looking back, honestly, like Anthony couldn't have. He was the right guy for me at the time, because he was hard on me.
Yeah.
He didn't tiptoe around my feelings.
Yep.
Like, and it really pushed me to see who I can be, you know.
Right.
So that first year door knocking was brutal,
Yeah.
but that was my biggest growth. Like to this day, it's carried me to this day. Like even now, if I'm mentoring somebody and they don't want to, you know, they're uncomfortable making a cold call, you know, like I have no sympathy for that.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna put on my Tony hat real quick. And I'm gonna shoot it to you straight. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that's not in my nature, but at least I can say, like, you know, like I know when it's like, okay, now that's you have to get uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
That's growth,
Right.
You know, and
I feel like it's so important to have those people in your life. For me, it was a history teacher in high school.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that all of our friends were in the same class, and we would always get in trouble because all of us were in the same class and we would joke around. She pulled me back after, and like we would always go to detention, and it was terrible, but she pulled me back after. She's like, you're fucking up, you are different, and you need to do better. You have more than what it takes to be successful in your life. You know, you always need that like one person that sees it in you and is hard on you, to make you almost get your head on straight. Yeah.
I mean, it's such valuable insight though, because in that moment you were probably like so freaking uncomfortable too, right?
Well, you
And,
wouldn't
like,
have done it,
potentially,
right?
No, I
Like-
wouldn't have done it.
yeah, potentially at a point where, you know, is this really worth it? But you did it. You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You
survived.
persevered. And you came out stronger for it. So
And
I
it
think that's
set
a good.
you on the trajectory that you're on now.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you imagine if you were like, nope, not getting out of the car?
Oh yeah, I was a battle every time in that car, just to get out. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as I got more comfortable, it got easier.
Yeah.
Right. And then after I understood what they were doing, I was like, wow, I can actually really help people.
You have a confidence
Yeah.
behind what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I was telling Melina and the team, you know, my story, and Melina said oh my gosh, like those are Dave's words, you know, because Dave, her husband Dave, who passed away, he was, and I never really got to meet Dave like I know Melina today.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish I got to, because just him and her on stage were huge inspirations for me. And it was warm and welcoming, you know, it wasn't hard sales over here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I felt this was different, you know, but she said that, you know, Dave mentored Anthony. He was Anthony's mentor,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
and Anthony was a guy who needed tough love too, it sounded like. And so after going through that, and reconnecting with them, I found that notebook I used to take notes.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, I just used some of my notes the other day because I'm training our
Nice.
team now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
You know, and so one of the words on there was mortgage. And so I didn't know what a mortgage was
Wow.
when I was, you know, I first started out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're sitting in the
Yeah.
back over there writing mortgage down. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Who does? Like,
Yeah, it
they
was-
don't teach you that in school.
Yeah, exactly, right?
They should, but-
I knew what rent was. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't know what mortgage was,
Yeah.
and so which is ironic today because that's all we do.
That's
is
all you
mortgage.
do.
Totally.
So,
So crazy.
And so I was telling Melina that, and we were laughing, and but I was also telling her that, you know, the club that they formed there and the culture, and you can tell because I see the same faces that today there that I've seen 11 years ago.
Which is
Wow.
unheard of.
Like
Really.
that's, you don't stay in a place for that long unless it means something to you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so they're doing something right. She's doing
Totally.
something right.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I give them a lot of credit for that because they are here in Hawaii now.
Right.
And you know, with Joel and Marianne, they're kind of leading the way. And I feel like, you know, indebted to Anthony and them because I needed those hard words.
Right.
You know, and like people who give you hard words, it's because they care.
Yeah.
You know, and we need people like that in our lives because the nice words don't get us far.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's good to keep us going.
Yeah.
You know, like for inspiration, people's got my back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help us grow.
Right.
Doesn't build your character.
It doesn't
Yeah.
build character.
Right.
And that's why, like, I think it's as a leader too, right? It's important that if someone is coming to you, even if it's someone that, you know, you're trying to mentor and lead, or some like, and they're maybe addressing an issue with you that has to deal with something that you've done, you as a leader should listen,
Yeah.
right? And take
Right.
those words too, because those are going to make us better as well. And when that happens, or if you shut it down, then you're creating a culture of yes men.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you don't want that.
And
we
I-
just talked about this,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Totally.
That can kill a company
Yeah.
and a vision
Yeah.
quicker than anything else.
Yeah.
When the people around you who are working right alongside you, if they're afraid to tell you bad news or something, like
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know, and who wants that type of environment anyways,
Totally.
right? So
No.
Totally.
so Anthony definitely wasn't a yes man to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, which now I can appreciate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so,
It's that simple statement: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
In all aspects of your life. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So you did that for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then why did you leave Anthony and Tony?
So when I graduated, I was homesick.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
As most local boys
Yeah,
are.
Right. Same.
like totally. Like, I have a lot of family home here,
Yeah.
and I have family over there too, and they took great care of me. So I had to decide, and it wasn't an easy decision, to be honest. In fact, on the flight home, I was even second guessing myself, like, am I making a mistake? Because I was gaining traction here,
Yeah.
starting to meet people at the club. I have Anthony and Tony kind of watching my back,
Yeah.
Right.
and but family means a lot to me. And so when I came home, I was like, all right, what am I gonna? I gotta start all over. It felt like it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
great, you know. But if the beautiful thing about getting education is that it'll never leave you,
Right.
Right.
So like it wasn't starting all over. So all I had to do was think like, hey, how do I start to
Yeah.
gain traction
In a new
And
place, yeah.
I was like, well, I went to the local meetups last time, like that worked out, you
Let's
know.
do
so
that
like,
again.
Let's
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
would,
more knowledgeable now.
yeah, a little bit.
Right.
And so I ended up going to the local meetups. And Cheryl Matsuoka, we call her Mama Cheryl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, she's one of the ones that I'll call if I'm about to do something kind of crazy.
Yeah.
you know, just to run, like just
Am I
like
really
Right.
crazy?
Get
Or
us-
is
let's
this,
get a second set of eyes on
or is
this.
this calculated risk?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but when I met her, she was running the real estate investing mastermind here, where it was for experienced investors. So you had to have done at least one deal, right? Even if you lost money on the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they wanted to have at least a little bit of barrier to entry,
Yeah.
you know. So she asked me if I wanted to come in and be the administrator and
Okay.
take the notes, take the minutes, and then organize the scheduling and the calendars and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because technically I wasn't supposed to be in the room.
Right.
Because
Right.
I didn't do a deal yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I got to sit in on those meetings, and it was the biggest blessing and maybe a lesson for new investors out there, because as the administrator, everyone had to go through me.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
knew everyone.
knew
I had their
everyone.
phone numbers, I had their emails.
Yeah.
Ah.
I listened in, I learned, because these are guys who are actually doing deals,
Right.
right? And so, and then Jonah Colgan,
Yeah.
who's a mentor of mine too,
Mm-hmm.
and friend, he was giving a deal analysis of a deal he did where they bought it subject to, and he was talking about how to lock up, a subject to deal. And so I was like, wow, that sounds like one of the leads in my pipeline right now.
Oh, wow, okay.
So like I was
Nice.
like, okay, maybe I'll call Jonah, so
Yep.
I called Jonah after, and he helped me lock it up,
Nice.
and I ended up wholesaling that one to Jonah for.
So your first
yeah.
deal was a creative deal?
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually Jonah's creative deal, but
Right. Like he structured it.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
went down with me to negotiate it, and
Yeah.
we got it under contract. we actually didn't even use escrow.
Wow.
So he had his attorney do everything.
Nice.
Okay.
We met the seller at the bank to
Escrow doesn't
notarize.
understand sometimes. That's why how to
Yeah.
structure those.
So and Jonah actually called the bank to let him know that we're taking over.
Wow.
So he
Wow.
kind of got the nod. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I to this day I haven't asked him why he did that.
Yeah.
You know, like, but maybe next time I'll ask him.
Yeah,
But,
I would be interested to know that too.
yeah.
Totally.
But the bank was cool. You know,
Yeah.
they're like,
Was
okay.
it a local bank here?
No.
It
It
was a
was,
big
a
one.
bank in New York or
Oh,
something.
okay. So was it a single family? Like, tell us about the deal.
It was single family, 2-story on Waimapuna Place in Soda Creek, Eva Beach.
Soda Creek.
Nice.
You never
Eva
forget your
Beach.
first.
Yeah, you never forget your first. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was a quick flip for him, and he made a lot of money on that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
And
like,
so wait, you assigned it to him. What'd you assign it to him for?
15.
15 grand.
Yeah.
So
Which was everything
Which
for
is-
me. though.
That's
which is-
massive.
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, that's so good on a first deal.
Well,
so-
honestly, the real value was I asked him if I could help him
yeah.
through the project, right?
Right.
So, and he was like, yeah, cool. You know,
It's
like,
your way of learning.
yeah. And I told him I won't get in the way. you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
I was like,
Promise, I won't
whatever.
get in the way.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he when he called me and he said, hey, I'm either gonna hire the demo guys to come demolish it, but if you want to go with me, we can trash the house and take everything out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
Let's do it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And so we went in there. There's a lot of trash, so it was all day.
Oh, yeah.
And we were sweating.
Oh, yeah.
But I was side by side with him, so I got to ask all the
All the
questions.
questions.
You know,
Yes.
and
That's
at
so
the
cool.
at the meetups, like everyone went to Jonah. You know,
Yeah.
because Jonah
He
had a
was
lot
the
of
guy.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy, and so he I learned about his story, and from there we just kind of kept rolling. Like I called him on the next one, which was another off market in Eva Beach.
Yeah.
And we went down there, wholesaled that one to him. He made a
Nice.
lot of money on that one again.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, I like this Cory guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And-
wholesaling us some good deals here.
Yeah. And so, and then I wholesaled him another one.
Wow.
This one was, I think, more in Kamuki area.
Okay.
And he did well on that one too. And so after that, he called me to take me to like Ruth's Chris.
Oh yeah, he's like,
He's
hey, wait, I
thinking-
deserve-
gotta butter this guy up.
But ever since then, man, like after that, then I got into flipping houses.
Nice,
right?
nice.
So
So the first 3 deals you wholesaled.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's so cool.
And then your fourth deal you actually took down yourself.
Yeah. So, well, I used to work for another investor.
Oh, okay.
And I got the opportunity to work alongside him and his company. After a few years, I was handling pretty much everything. Like a
Wow.
lot. Like the one thing I wouldn't deal with is more the private lenders and stuff.
Okay.
So I got to learn a lot, through the years working with him. And then after KECO and I ended up partnering up, and then we went off to do
All
bunch
the
of
things
deals.
you're
Where
doing
did you
now.
meet KECO in that?
KECO had a house flip like right across the street from mine.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, and so it was in Portlock,
Okay.
it's actually Triangle in
Okay.
Hawaii.
Oh,
County.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
where that is.
Poipu is Poipu and Anahola Street.
Okay.
And but he was in Seattle at the time, which he still is.
Yeah.
He's born and raised local boy here too, but
Right.
him and his family lives in Seattle now. And so he just asked me like, do you want to go? Do you mind if you check on my project from time to time if you're out there, and
Yeah.
I'll give you like half the profits.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like, oh dude, like it's right across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't
Yeah.
feel comfortable taking
Yeah.
half. And then we just kept talking. We're friends already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, well, are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
Like maybe we just partner.
Yeah.
And we partnered up, and man, we just blasted off. Like,
Yeah.
just started buying everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
So wait, let me backtrack a little bit. When you came back to Hawaii and you were finding those deals to wholesale to Jonah, how were you finding those leads?
It was direct mail,
Oh, okay.
and I used I think it was absentee owners, out of state absentee owners.
Nice.
Yep. And
Okay.
I blasted all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mailed
Well,
everybody.
the first couple rounds of marketing, Oh man, I lost so much money
I'm
because
sure.
and I was at the time I was following Sean Terry.
Yeah.
Okay.
who-
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I
Flip to
love
Freedom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved his podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
he's easy
unreal.
to listen to, has great energy,
Totally.
great content.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
inspiring.
So
yeah.
I joined his academy.
Okay.
And so I started learning all of his marketing strategies and stuff. So I chose direct mail.
Yeah.
And I was trying to decide, okay, letters or postcards, you know, and so I chose postcards. And then finally, like my conversions and my response rates were so bad that like I had to, I just had to message him. You know,
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
messaged
yeah.
Sean Terry.
You're like, you're lying to me.
No, no, I was like, hey Sean, I'm in your academy, you know, and
Yeah.
I told him, it's like, you know, my conversion rate is at this percentage, you know, it's less than 1%.
Yeah.
And he is like, is this normal? You know, and he's like, oh no, it's not normal.
This is not
Wow.
normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was like, send me a picture of your marketing piece. So I took a picture of my postcards, and he's like, ooh, I know the problem. He said it's too nice. He said it
Oh.
looks like junk mail. You know. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. He said, here, use this one, and he sent me a copy of I think it was Chris Chico's postcard. I think he sent me that one. Is Chris Chico still training?
I don't know.
I don't.
Okay.
I've never heard. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure,
I
maybe
don't
no.
know.
Yeah.
He coined the strategy, I think, virtual wholesaling.
Okay.
Oh,
But
okay.
so he had this yellow postcard, this ugly yellow postcard with just a block of text. And so I used it, and oh my, like the response rate was amazing.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
So
crazy.
it did matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
And,
Shiny and nice isn't always effective.
yeah. No. And because like when I was thinking about it, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'd probably throw that away too. Like, you know, and
They're trying to sell me something.
it was a glossy card
Right,
with
right.
stock photos and
Yeah,
stuff. We
yeah.
buy houses. And,
yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. That was pretty cool though that you got direct from the source. Like, yo, try this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
That was
that
pretty
saved me because honestly, I couldn't keep going on like that. You
Right.
know, with spending that kind of money when I didn't have it.
Cool. Yep. No,
So,
that feeling.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
I know. But it brings up a interesting point because you reached out and asked for help, and you
Yeah.
realized that you needed to pivot, right?
Yep.
And I feel like that's exactly what you have to do, right? And some people are scared to do that. So it really is a good reminder to remember, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do.
Another thing too that I want to point out is like from day one, you started in some form of educational platform or mentorship,
yeah,
you know? And a lot of people try to do it on their own, like YouTube University and just researching what they can. And there's so much good information out there now. But do you feel that joining a mentorship or getting that education and that mentor shorten your learning curve?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the information is out there, but it's close. I mean, if you're not gonna pay the price, you're gonna pay in time.
There,
Yeah.
boom.
So
there
I
you
love
go.
that.
Yeah,
Is it your, and you still may not know if you're doing it right. You know, it pays to have someone looking over your shoulder for the first few.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
So, and like especially in markets like our market here in Hawaii, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So the errors and mistakes are exponential.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
deal could be your last.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
You don't want checkmate on the first one. That's,
Yeah.
that's what I
No.
always say.
Yeah.
No, you
So
don't.
it's worth, even if the other person's not bringing anything to the table other than their experience, just to hold your hand and watch you,
Yeah.
then it's worth it.
Right.
Just to have that person to call when you have a genuine question or
Yeah.
like, what the hell do I do? Just like you did, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we get the question all the time, like, how do I get started? What do I need to do? You know what I mean? And our biggest advice is don't do what we did, right? Like, try to do it by yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we learned some expensive lessons, right?
Right.
Totally.
But I always recommend reach out to that person that you want to be like, right? Or has experience
Yep.
in your field, doing what you want to do. And that's, I feel like, the best way to get started.
I couldn't agree more. If you can pay for education, pay for education.
Yep.
And then if you can't, learn what you can and then bring it to an investor that can literally hold your hand through it.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be worth it. It'll save you a lot of money.
And stress.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights.
Totally.
But
So you guys are doing, you partner up with KECO and you blast off.
Yeah, so
like
what
are
you
we
guys-
what did that business
is-
look like? Like
what does
what are we
blast off look
talking
like?
about? Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. Okay, so we got to go back. Like for the first couple years, we were on a buying spree. You know, not just in Hawaii, but in Seattle.
Okay.
In Seattle, we waited about a year before we actually bought in Seattle because when we went in, we were just doing some due diligence. You know, and because if you understand the fundamentals, you need to understand the market that you're playing in.
Yeah.
You know, all of the intricacies. How does it behave?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I'm helping to train our guys now because I want them to understand this, even though a lot of them are doing loans, right?
Right.
They're selling money.
But
Yep.
understand your client.
Yeah,
really.
understand the client, but
Yeah.
also for them personally too, you know, because they will get in the game,
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and some of them have already,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
with some of their clients and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I realized was, and KECO as well, we would go to open house out there, and it was the market was so hot, and you had to come in cash, no due diligence, 14-day close, otherwise you
Wow.
should just sit on the sidelines.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy.
And so we would talk to the agents, and we're like, wow, this market doesn't seem sustainable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think this was 2017.
Okay.
But 2017 or 2018. And so after we kind of just sat on the sidelines, you
Yeah.
know, like there's no way, like this is too
Yeah.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then as it started to slow down, then we started buying,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and KECO was doing most of it. And so by the time we looked up, we had like double-digit projects here in Hawaii, double-digit projects in
Right.
Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, with crews going back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we're so crazy that we decided to go to Vegas too and do the same thing, you know. So
Right,
we're in
right.
Vegas now too. And,
Right.
Yeah.
so it was a lot, you know. it
Fast
was-
and Furious.
Oh yeah, yeah. And meanwhile, it wasn't just that. We were starting other companies at the same time.
Right.
You know, so I think I aged like 5 years in
Yeah.
that year. you
Yeah.
know?
Totally. So
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Okay.
crazy. So, okay. That's like monumental growth. What do you attribute that to? Do you attribute that to partnering up, or like why did your guys' marriage per se coming together, partnership, why does it work so well?
I think we balance each other out pretty well. You know, and I think we started out as friends too. That's why. So that helps. We can tolerate each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though KECO has totally different skills than I do. You know, he's a master communicator.
Yeah.
And he's always happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's like the over optimist.
I
you know?
Yeah,
noticed
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He totally is.
It's-
Every time I see him, that's
it's
exactly
contagious,
how it
though.
is.
Yeah.
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 And he's hilarious.
He's never in a bad mood. Yeah, he's never
Yeah.
in a bad mood. And so for me, I'm more the guy, like I'm more of a realist. Like I'll if something doesn't look right, like I'm gonna say all the reasons why we should not do this. You
Right,
know?
right.
So I think it's a good balance. Like I'm more about the numbers, worrying about he like loves the design and making it beautiful and then increasing the value.
Yeah.
But so when we would go in on deals, it worked out until then we grew so big that we had to divide and conquer. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
but we to this day we're still partners, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We run everything together.
Yep.
And him and I might go like a week without talking now, you know. And then sometimes we'll see each other on Coffee Talk for the first time in the
Hey,
week.
what's up, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
on
I'm
Fridays.
catching up with him, you
right,
know. Like,
right.
So, but because now he has a big team that he's running for us, and we have a big team that's running for us. So,
Yeah.
Totally.
and there has to be a lot of trust there.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's earned over time,
Right.
Yep.
right? I feel.
Yep.
But the reason why we took off is I think, like, I don't know. I never asked KECO this, but for myself, before I decided to partner with him, I was like, okay, I can go off on my own, flip some houses, and then kind of lie in the shadows where I like to be, and maybe go buy some rentals and then ride off to the sunset. You know,
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
And but then I started thinking, you know, it's like, okay, but will I be fulfilled? You know, like I don't know, because one story too that now I've told it, so I am comfortable telling it. But in that last year of college, I had a lot of anxiety about graduating and like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't want to work, and I was even feeling like I don't even want to. Like, I not only do I want to be a physical therapist, like I don't want to work at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it just sounded miserable to me.
Right.
And it kind of, I was a little ashamed of those feelings because, like, I'm not a lazy person.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm the opposite.
Right.
But in that time, I felt lazy and like, I don't want to work, you know, and so
I get all those feelings.
yeah. And so after reading Rich Dad, I changed my mindset. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that feels this way.
You
Right.
need the right vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that last year, I remember working out at the Corona 24-hour fitness, and like I would back then you didn't have like AirPods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would just leave my phone in the car while I worked out. And so after my one night after my workout, I left and I went to my car, got my phone, and I was kind of scrolling to see if I had any missed calls or anything. No missed calls, no text messages. Oh man, for some reason it hit me where I was a little down because I was like, wow, when was the last time someone called me or texted me? You know, like I was like, why do I even need a phone? You know, and so and then I had a feeling like, wow, you know, if it was to end today, like that would be a shame because like nothing would stop. You know, like my family and friends would care, you know, they'd be sad,
Right.
but like nothing else, you know, like I wasn't important to many
There's
people.
no legacy. There's no
Right.
I get that.
So like during that time I was searching for something.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
now that I can understand it and look back, I was searching for something more to fulfill me.
Yeah.
Right.
And fast forward to today, now looking back, like my phone doesn't stop sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like my
You're
schedule's
like,
always
"Stop."
Yeah.
And but whenever I do get stressed, like feel anxiety and stress, like I have to stop myself and put myself back
There.
in that other place where I wasn't important to like
Anybody.
many
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
you know,
Right.
and just change those feelings of stress and anxiety to gratitude.
Yeah,
Totally.
being grateful and
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to ever trade it to be in that position.
Go back to
like
that position.
That place is empty.
Right.
That's such a good perspective to have, and I think that when you get caught up, we get that too, where you're like, this is everything you wanted.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted, and you asked for it, and people would dream of being here. So like, I think that's where that self-care comes in, and like the constant mindset that you have to pour into yourself and build yourself up, fill up your cup so that you can keep going, so that you can keep that gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also making sure you keep that perspective and
Yeah.
remembering, you know what I mean,
Like,
where you did come
pump the
from. Like
brakes
being
for a
being
second.
conscious and
Yeah.
intentional about going back to that place to remember how you felt then and just how grateful you are to be in the
Totally.
position that you're in today. And I think it tells a lot of who you are because
Yeah.
what was important to you was the impact that you had on others too, right? As opposed to just you know, doing everything for yourself, which, you know, that's why we're at where you're
That's
at
why
today.
you're at where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you'll definitely leave a legacy for
Yeah.
sure.
That's the plan. That's what I'm going for.
So you're doing all these flips in Seattle. Was that what your main strategy was? Was it fix and flip? Is that what you guys were doing mostly?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
And then somehow we got the crazy idea to vertically integrate our company.
Yeah.
So we started like a bunch of companies at the same time, which is never a good idea, actually. So it was a property management company, a construction company, a real estate company, the fund, you know. So, but it all kind of worked out. I mean, we got the idea from my friend Ranson, and he vertically integrated his company, and he's the largest producer of cannabis in the state of Nevada right now.
Crazy. You had him on Coffee Talk.
Yeah.
I thoroughly loved that Coffee Talk. It was so good.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah, he's a guy where I always thought, like, just to myself, is like, man, you know, one thing is I never was gifted at anything. You know, like I played basketball in high school. Okay, and I played on the varsity my freshman year, and when people tell me, like when I tell people that, they're like, "What?"
They're like,
because I'm like
"No,
5'5".
never.
Yeah. So like nothing came easy for me. Like I always
Yeah.
had to work hard,
Yeah.
and even in school. So, but I always felt like I had, if anything, I have that edge. You know, like
Yeah.
I will work
Yeah.
and grind
Yeah.
out anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I reconnected with Ranson, and then, I swear, like I was texting him at like 11 o'clock our time, so it's like 2 a.m. his time,
And he answers.
and he's answering me. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. And then
Yeah.
like 3 hours later, I find like he's still texting me, and I'm sleeping already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, and like,
yeah.
so I call him the next day. I'm like, man, do you sleep? And he's like, no, I take naps. I was like, what? And I think he's serious too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and he's a local boy. He's from
Yeah.
Waimanalo.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I take so much inspiration from him. But he's always been a high performer.
Mm.
He's captain of the basketball team and the football team. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Wow.
in 3 years, which is like
Unheard
one of
of.
the fastest
Yeah.
Americans ever.
Yeah.
Right alongside BJ Penn.
Right.
You know, and so he's always been that type of guy. And then he ended up doing like private lessons for jiu-jitsu for a young boy. The young boy was heir to like his mentor's empire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he didn't know at the time, but the grandfather approached Ranson after, because he's seen the change in the boy, where the boy is
Yeah.
confident.
Yeah.
He's getting because he was getting bullied, I think. And then his mentor, told Ranson who he was, and that he's so grateful for him taking care of his grandson, because he is the guy to take over, I guess.
Right,
And
right.
so his mentor and the family was like one of the few families that built Las Vegas, basically.
Wow.
All the hotels that are shaped
Heavy.
like a Y
Yeah.
are their work. So
Wow.
Treasure Island,
Yeah.
Bellagio,
Yeah.
all the big ones.
Right, right,
so,
right.
Crazy.
And so he, of course, he offered to Ranson to mentor him in business if he was interested.
Yes,
And
please.
of course, Ranson, and you give a guy like Ranson like a step like that,
An opportunity like
dude,
that.
yeah,
Gonna
he's
run
gonna
with
crush
it.
it.
Yeah.
So it's not by accident that he's in the position that he's in.
Totally.
And he worked hard.
Right.
Like his
Yeah.
mentor didn't invest with him until years later.
Yeah.
And so he anyways, he was saying that, they vertically integrated the company. And was telling us how he did that. And then I started to think, like, what would it look like if we did that, in
Right.
real estate? Like, is it not even possible, you know?
Right.
So like to this day, I have a little sketch of all the entities and how it would flow and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing is, I guess we're trigger pullers because we made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was chaos for a couple of years, but made it through. And
Yeah.
it's actually been exactly what I feel we were supposed to be doing. You know, because I had that point with before partnering with KECO. It's like, okay, I can ride off to the sunset by myself, you know.
Right.
But then, is that really what I'm in this for?
Right.
You know, because like Anthony asked me, like, what is my why?
Right.
And my experience of having that low moment, like where I'm like, something's wrong, like
Yeah.
I'm not fulfilled. I feel empty. Like I'm not at my potential. And so before partnering with KECO, like I'm just thinking back to that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I'll be happy. And that like now I know that would have been true
Yeah.
because I don't know if I'll ever stop.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, I hope it's a curse of the
Same.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
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 Maybe I'll be on a different venture after this one,
Right,
But
right,
it's
right.
gonna be something.
Yeah.
It's so much more fulfilling. It's so much more fun. It's so much more
Oh, yeah.
impactful when you're doing it with other people.
Totally.
And I think for us, I mean, we have each other, and luckily, we like each
Luckily,
other.
we like each other sometimes.
But we're actually like, our goal now is to really bring our family into it,
Yep.
and like do it with family and then talk about like legacy and impacting your family, because then it just spreads from there. But that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard doing anything by yourself. So I couldn't even imagine.
It's not fun.
No,
it's not.
Fun, yeah.
I always say you can do it. That's why there's a lot of people
yeah.
out there that do
Yeah,
it that
you
way.
totally can.
But you're alone. You aren't having fun a lot of the times.
Yep.
And it's just like you look at those people and we just knew we didn't want to do that, right?
Well, you
And
carry that burden all by yourself.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just understood that through collaborating and working together, you can grow that much more and have that much fun. There's like no downside. So, I mean, that's literally what
Well,
we're
having
doing
that
now.
partner when you're having a shitty day and you're like, yo,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is what's going on. And he and I specifically, like, when I'm in a dark place, he's in a light place. When he's in a dark place, I'm in a light.
Yeah.
So you
It
can
just so
kind of,
happens that that's
you
just how it
can
works.
balance each other out.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in a dark place and always having, like, obviously you pull yourself out of it, but if you don't have anybody else to help you,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah. And it's hard if you're doing it by yourself, there's not many people who understand what you go through.
Right.
Yeah.
The heavy burden sometimes
Yep.
Yeah.
of the debt, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Dude, sometimes I like lay up awake at night. I'm like, okay, what do we got doing? What's our debt? And
Don't think about that.
like it's crippling sometimes, no,
Don't
because
think
you're
about
like,
that at all.
holy shit, you know what I mean? But then you work your way around. It's like, yeah, but look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, the debt.
Yeah. Having someone to high five in the wins,
Totally.
there's no feeling like it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
and then someone to, hug in the
Yeah.
the losses.
The losses, right? And share them with, right?
Yeah.
And laugh it off.
Laugh
and
it
then
off.
dust
Pick
yourself
each
up.
other back up. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. It's
That's what-
invaluable, man.
That's what it's all
I
about.
love that.
Okay, so vertically integrated. What do those companies look like today? Actually, so when you guys started the companies, are there still the same companies in place? And what are those?
Yeah, so they're still in place. So our main company was Cory Nemoto Investment Group. That was our house flipping company, our development company.
Okay.
And then the second one was Integris, which was our real estate brokerage, which we partnered with our friend out in Seattle who had his broker's license. So,
Wow.
and his name's Greg. And then after that one, I can't remember in order which one it was so crazy.
Yeah.
But it was our construction company, which is Elevation Construction. And then it was our fund. And then the property management company.
Nice.
So the fund actually was one of the first entities that we were going to start. Like that one for sure we were going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
But that one took the longest to form because just creating our guidelines and the documents, there was a lot of back and forth and stuff with our attorneys and how we wanted to structure it because we wanted to be able to fund in second position as well if we wanted to.
Right.
And then we have to go through the pluses and minuses of doing that, you know, because if it's in your guidelines that you're going to fund in second, like no institutional capital is going to want to touch you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so,
Right.
But we put it in there. And then we started the property management company, and before we started that one, that was the one time KECO and I really disagreed on whether or not we should do that. I was telling him, I was like, dude, that's backwards.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I don't want to be a property manager.
Right.
I don't want, especially if it's for other people.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
But then he was saying like, no, we got this and that, and then it started to make sense. I was like, okay, well, I was like,
Okay, well, you do that.
yeah. Well, I told him I was like, man, how are you gonna find the time? Because like I know your schedule,
Yeah.
you know, and like he said, no, we're gonna partner. We're gonna partner with this guy Chris. We'll just we'll cut him in as owner, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, and I said, well, I honestly don't think it's a good idea, dude. Like we're already
Stretched.
slammed,
Right.
like, and
Super busy.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
enough, but it is a strong cash flow business,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up having to like John kind of pull because that's actually in our partnership agreement.
Is it?
Yeah.
You go back to the partnership
That's the
agreement
only time
and
we
it's
had
like,
to do it.
Okay, I think
Dude.
we should put that junk in a post.
Yeah.
we got a junk in
My-
a
Or
me-
rock, paper,
If
scissors.
we cannot decide, we
Dude,
are junking a pony.
Me and Chelsea, my business partner, my nonprofit, we've done that.
Oh yeah. It's actually a good thing to have because like sometimes like if you disagree and there's only two of you, right? There's no third partner.
Yeah.
To break the majority.
Yeah.
So
Right.
It can be a tense conversation sometimes because
Yeah.
I really did not want to start that company and he
Right.
really did.
Wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's what that was designed for. I guess
Right, right.
make light of a serious
It's the
decision.
tiebreaker. Yeah. In a fun way.
Yeah.
I lost, and so we got a property management company.
There we go.
That's great.
and it's running.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I forget how many doors we're up to now, but Chris, our partner, and KECO pretty much have eyes on it. But it's really Chris doing all the legwork.
Yeah.
So
That's
Nice.
another good reason to partner.
exactly.
Yeah.
We could not do what we do without partners and a strong team. Like
Yeah.
Right.
what I said earlier on, it's like really it's not like I'm another player on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, we're just at that point where we're building everything out because we do realize as we grow, it just becomes too much. Like it's so overwhelming sometimes. So like putting those right people in the right places, and I think we're getting there for sure.
Can you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because you've built a team, a very big one at this point. How is it finding the right people to put in the right seats? How is it retaining those people? You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah. And over the last 3 years or so, really I've been going through a lot of learning.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, I love it.
Yeah.
Like I'll go into the office and it feels like my second family. You know, like
Yeah.
and because we're side by side with each other, handling problems,
Yeah.
you know, taking big wins,
Yeah.
you know, dealing with the losses, if any, and constantly trying to get better and better. But it is hard, especially since like our team specifically, we come from all different
Walks of life.
walks of life, different cultures, different upbringings,
Right.
and half our team's out in Florida,
Right.
even the guys who moved here, we have Tyson from Canada, Alex is from Alaska,
Yeah.
you know,
all over.
they're from everywhere, and everyone's different, right? So it's not easy to bring a group of like, we're kind of like misfits, especially in the
Motley
private
crew.
lending side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like when we show up at the conferences, we're different.
They're
Like
like,
right away, you can tell. Like
Wow.
one is like we're mostly young, like
Yeah.
we're on the younger side for that industry.
Yep.
Right.
But we also we just look different, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And so, but being with the team and learning to lead has actually been some of the most fulfilling duties I've ever had.
That's awesome.
You know, like that. This is what I'm here for. You
Right.
know? And because it's not easy. And what I found was my hiring process, I guess, and maybe I haven't learned the lesson yet.
Yeah.
It's pretty laxed. You
Yeah.
know, I just know what I'm not looking for.
Yeah.
If it's like we have a strict no asshole policy,
Right.
You know, like
Right,
if you're an
right.
asshole, like we're not gonna. This ain't gonna work.
Just beat it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not
And,
worth it.
If you're someone who doesn't have humility,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who can't take criticism,
Yeah.
you know, as long as it's delivered respectfully,
Right.
Totally.
it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And because I make it clear that this is open door policy, right? Like people can come in, they can say whatever they want to say as long as it's delivered with respect and consideration.
Yeah.
Then we need that. We
Yeah.
need people to step up and speak their mind, you know, and empower them to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's open door policy. It's like anyone can come in and say what they have to say,
Right.
but also anyone can leave
Right.
at any time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I've told my guys, it's like, look, I'm not gonna like. If you guys are worried about being fired or something, or like let go because of performance or something like that, like it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like the only way that you guys leave this like kind of family that we're building is if you open the door, walk out, and quit yourself.
And tell me
Right.
I'm leaving. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because if the effort's there, and if I see that you're trying to grow, you're trying to learn, even though like there's some things, sometimes people are lazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's my job to tell them, sit them down and say, you're
Hey,
lazy.
This needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
You're
yeah.
lazy.
Yeah. Stop
Totally.
being lazy.
Yeah.
So, so the responsibility that I feel is that if someone, unless it's something really malicious,
Yeah.
then I'll remove them.
Right.
If they're cancer to the company or to the culture, they're out.
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah.
So, but what I feel is that if I can't help lead somebody, and I have to like let them go, then that's a reflection on my
On you.
leadership. Like
Yeah.
I quit on them. you know. So as long as I know that they're still there and they can try and they're trying and they show up and they're trying to listen, even though it may not be working out, it's not on them. I got to take ownership of that. If I'm leading people properly and I'm creating the comfortable environment and culture for them to thrive, then there should be no reason why I should remove somebody.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but maybe I still got to learn my lesson. But so far it's been working out because I've seen the guys that even just came on just grow before my eyes.
That's awesome.
I love that you said like everything is a reflection of you and looking inward as the leader, because I feel like in order to, and you were just talking about this.
I was just
too,
talking about this.
that in order to be a good leader, you do first have to go within, and it always has to be an internal conversation of what can you do better? Is your side of the street clean? Are you doing enough? Can you take that criticism or that feedback? Because if you can't, how are you truly a leader?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, they do not do that at all, right? They think that that's weak. That's a weak thing
That's what
to
you
be,
said. It's
right?
my way or the highway.
Right, with a leader, but actually taking ownership of that shows that
Strength.
you're flexible with your thinking. You have to be flexible with your thinking, right? You have to be able to listen and
Adaptability, courage, empathy, like
Right.
all the things that make people want to actually follow you.
totally. Yeah.
People don't want to be bossed. They
Yeah.
want to be bossed around.
Right.
But everyone wants to be led.
Yeah.
Because it's security,
Yeah.
you know? And so when it comes to leadership, like I'm still learning like a lot of lessons, you know, sometimes the hard way, you know, and but I feel if you create an environment where being wrong is okay, then you can't lose.
Yeah.
Or not having all the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where or people are coming to you and you have this pressure of like knowing everything and not being willing or able to be like, I actually don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah. And it's the people who feel like they have to, you know, take the posture of like, I'm the boss. Like, I know everything that you have to listen to me. Those are the people who will, maybe they'll hit a certain level, but they won't go all the way.
Right.
Because people don't respect that.
Yeah.
You know,
Long term,
you don't stay with a company or with a mentor for 11 years, right? Like New Wealth,
right?
If it's that kind of culture,
Right.
Like you have to have an environment where it's not filled with yes men and people just want to smile and say, oh, you're awesome, you're so great. Like if anything, those words make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, like I appreciate it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it is for me because I'm shy or I don't, you know, and because I know that those words help push us, but it doesn't help us grow, right? Yeah. And when it comes to our company, it's like everyone has a say. You know, if we're gonna make a big decision, like I want to gather everybody and say, hey, here's our options. This is where I think we should go. Like, what is your guys' thoughts? Because I want to know too. You know, like if I'm thinking wrong, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like I want to run it past everybody. And everybody can have their opinions, you know, and then maybe that does change my mind. Like, wow, yeah, that was right. You know,
Yeah.
We avoided disaster there. But
Totally.
Right.
But once the decision's made, all I ask is that everybody's on board now.
Yeah.
You know, whether you were for it or against it, because that's what I had to do.
We voted.
Yeah. Like you have the open mic, like, and it will be considered.
Right.
But once the decision's made, whichever side you're on, now it's like, okay, everybody on board.
Everybody's
or
on
get
board.
out of the way.
Right.
You know,
Right,
so
right.
like there is a nice balance there, and sometimes people may overstep the line a little bit because you leave it so open. I'd rather that happen and then you have to correct them than them not even try to approach
Try to
the
stay.
line.
Yeah.
They don't. They just tiptoe around, walking on eggshells.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
I
get
love
that.
that. It sounds like you guys are building, and I've heard this too. Just an unreal culture,
I've
right? And
seen
we
it,
talk
yeah.
about that all the time. Is how important that culture is, right? So that's awesome.
I've told our guys, like, if you're a loan officer in 5 years from now, if you're still a loan officer because you have to be, like, we fucked up.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm doing something
Yeah,
wrong.
we made a mistake somewhere
Right,
because
right.
that it shouldn't take you that long to be unless you really enjoy it.
Yeah, or you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's her passion, and you
Yep.
love doing that. But I want it to be a choice for you to
Exactly.
do that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to encourage people to have that ownership, that that they are in control.
Yeah.
Even if, you know, they do at the end of the day, the decision doesn't end with them.
Right.
You know, like they need to have the ability to thrive.
Totally.
You know, whether personally or professionally.
Right.
So, and that's not easy to do sometimes.
No, I
Yeah.
was just thinking that because you're bringing people onto your team to help build your business, right? But at the same time, you're navigating and trying to help them build their dream life as well and achieve their goals. And so it's almost like you're pouring into people knowing that they're gonna fly,
Yeah.
and then then you have to start over and do it again,
Exactly.
and again and again. So, but like that's just what is a part of business ownership.
I think that really is like there's different forms of entrepreneurship, I
Yeah.
feel, right? And there's like the entrepreneurs who are just built to be founders and start companies and survive the chaos. And then once the company matures, they're not built for that. They're not going to be CEO and run the day-to-day of smooth operations
Right,
and have
right.
HR and have in-house legal and all that. I'm not built that way.
I don't
by
think
the,
I'm built that way.
Yeah.
either.
by the time if we ever hit that point, and by the time we're there, I'll probably be out.
You'll exit. Yeah.
Yeah.
some
Somebody
kind of
else
exit.
is running it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I tell our guys, you know, and they gotta bless their hearts, they gotta listen to me sometimes, just rant. But I tell them, like, you know, guys, this is hardcore entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You know, we started this with nothing. We bootstrapped this company with no seed investment. We are competing at the highest level when it
Yeah.
comes to national hard money lenders, and we should all be proud. But, you know, the moment we become content is a moment like we'll lose all
Right.
day long, because we
Right.
do not have the resources yet that some of these other companies have.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to earn the right to be in this space by sheer will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, will to grow, you know, will to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
will to go out there and ask for business,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just know that you guys have a spot here, and this isn't forever. But
Right.
while we're here, let's give it our all.
Let's kill
and
it,
you know,
yeah.
if as long as we leave it all out there, then there's nothing we have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the attitude you have to have when you're starting anything.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's
if you
not
want to
easy.
be in this entrepreneurship world
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, there's the entrepreneurs who, like, yeah, they thrive in that environment. They
Right.
live for that, you know, and that's me. Like, I love this.
Cory
Yeah.
loves chaos.
In a sick way, I kind of do, you know, like, it took me a while to admit saying that, because
Yeah.
when you're in it, it's like, oh, man.
Like,
It's,
fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
But when you look back, it's like, that was fucking awesome.
That was the best
I would
ever.
do that
Yeah.
all over
And
again.
Let's do it
they call
again.
us sick for a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
right.
kind of are.
Yeah. So, but it's like Alex and I talk about this all the time. When we're done, maybe we'll write a book about
You
it.
totally should.
Because
you should
If
definitely.
you guys knew everything from inception of especially the fun, because that's the one where I'm in it
Yeah.
day to day now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just taking it from where we started, like, there's so many stories
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
of craziness.
Yeah,
you know?
guarantee.
And I'm just surprised that, you know, we gained so much traction very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly feel it's because if I'm looking for anything in bringing someone on board, is, do they have the spirit to last? Do they have the endurance? Because
Yeah.
if I feel that they are more of a salary guy, then I don't think it's gonna work.
It's not a good
you know?
fit.
And,
Now, do they have the hustle?
yeah, maybe come see us in 5 years from now, when
Right.
maybe this shit's kind of ironed out and mature.
Yeah,
Right.
and
You know,
right.
and then you
have-
can play a role. Maybe you know you can
Yeah.
work your way up the
Yeah.
chain. But
right
Totally.
now we need
We need
down.
warriors.
Yeah.
we need guys that are like they live for it, you
Yeah.
know, and like that's why we're dangerous. You
I
know,
love
like
that.
the other companies, like, we compete with companies that are publicly traded. They're on Wall Street.
Right.
You know, they've been in finance their whole careers. There's been, you know, and like, how do we compete with that? Like, well, if you have the heart, you know, then and you have that will to continue to fight, you will be in the game and you may be leading the pack.
Yeah,
You know, and that's
big
why
time.
we're dangerous.
Right,
You know,
right,
as a
right.
company. I don't want, I told our guys, like every year we have a kickoff call, right? And it's like, if we ever get complacent, that's the moment we start to lose. And Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
right? They're saying at Amazon is every day is day one,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
he said himself that even Amazon, which is one of the largest companies in the world,
In the
Yeah.
world, yeah.
their culture is, and I mean, there's a lot to say about their culture too,
Yeah.
but their culture that he instilled was that the moment a company becomes complacent, it starts to die.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
You know, so every day is day one. You know, you should be operating as if you are a startup, even if you are a mature company.
Yeah.
Totally.
Otherwise, some new
Is
company is going to
come.
come and wipe you out.
Wipe you
Yeah.
out.
They're going to
Yeah.
disrupt you.
Totally.
So
I
Yeah.
love that. I love the warriors.
Yeah.
We all want warriors.
yeah, so that's one thing I look for. You know,
Yeah.
and like that's not easy to find.
No.
Sometimes,
No, it's
so.
not. Yeah.
No, and that's the thing too, is because especially because of society and the educational system, they don't raise up warriors.
Yeah.
They don't raise up entrepreneurs. You either like have that or and this might be controversial, but you either have that or you don't.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's hard to find it because we are a little freaking nuts.
Yeah.
A little crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel too like because it's just like me. Like I think that everybody does, not everybody, but I think there are a lot of people who have that spirit in them, but it never gets awoken.
Yeah.
Never
So-
gets. Yeah.
As leaders, like for me, like even though I'm thinking, okay, this is a good person. He's, maybe that person's shy, but they can. You know that if you can awake them,
There's
their spirit,
potential.
Yeah,
Yeah, for greatness.
And then that's our job to
Yeah.
to put that little spark in them, and then kind of nurture it.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of
watch
fan
them
it.
grow.
You know,
Yeah. Watch it grow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I think society causes those people to never let that
Out.
blossom, right?
right.
It never ever comes out. It's just how our society is structured, right?
Yeah.
But I mean that
Go read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll start to kindle the
Full
flame.
circle.
Well,
Back
like
to the beginning.
people listening to the podcast, right? And
Yeah.
you guys bring on guests and you
Mm-hmm.
speak about topics like that's what, like, you're changing people, like people are like, oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, I can
or
relate.
like, I like this show,
Right,
like I
right,
just
right,
learned
right.
something. And then you hear someone's story and then it changes everything for them.
Totally.
Well, that was the whole goal of doing this is
Yep.
we bring on people that are just doing cool shit,
Yeah.
and our end goal is not to just stick it to real estate, but just entrepreneurship in general, business ownership, so that specifically for local people, like you can do this,
Yeah.
it's so possible. And then people latch on to certain things and they relate and get inspired. And that's really the goal.
Yeah, we have a soft spot for obviously the people of Hawaii, right?
Right.
And a lot of times what we hear is like there's a lot of information out there
But it's
around our
all over
space
there.
in the mainland.
Right,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And like all the big mentorships and education platforms are all over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times and we know this, that our market is a very unique market
Mm-hmm.
here on Oahu. And they just want stories from people
They
that
want
are
proof
here,
that it can be
right?
done here.
Like people
okay,
that
but
are
people
here.
doing it here?
Right,
You
yeah.
know?
Exactly.
And then we're like, yep, we are. You can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
nice.
So what does your personal portfolio look like? What personal deals are you doing right now? Or is it all within your huge
Yeah.
structure?
Well, when KECO and I decided to go all in and vertically integrate, we sold a bunch of our stuff, a bunch of our stuff in Seattle.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so
we
we're
need
like,
money.
yeah, we're gonna like, okay, if we're gonna do this, like, we're all in. I guess
Yeah.
we're all in,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of our net worth is within our companies.
You guys
Nice.
are like, I give you so much.
We're
props.
crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's that time will come. That's easy for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not ready to retire.
No.
So
Right.
and we'll be back to pass. Maybe we'll slow down and stuff. But
Yeah.
right now, we're all in every single. I mean, most of our profits go right back to
Into
the company.
Totally.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we are. I
We
mean,
knew-
obviously.
yeah.
We're bootstrapping right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that we had to, if we're gonna do this, like that we're signing up for years of kind of stress and
Yep.
chaos.
Delayed
Totally.
gratification.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if we're gonna do it, then we have to be all in, and we're all in.
I love
I
that.
love that.
I love
Super
that.
cool.
So what deals are you doing? Like I know you do a lot of ground up construction here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have going on here on Oahu?
So we only have 5 projects left, or 5 houses left.
Right.
So when we at the start of COVID, we had maybe 12 left, and that was down from like 17.
Yeah.
So I've been downsizing for like I've been trying to downsize
Trying
for
to
like
get rid of.
You're like, come on.
years, and but after those are done, I don't know. I may not go back.
Maybe
Yeah.
focus just on all of your other businesses and building those.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm,
it takes a lot of time.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at partnering on another project, but I mean, I'm gonna be more passive. Like I'll be like,
You're like,
Right.
I'm just a money guy.
oh yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally told it's Roger and Keone.
Yeah, yeah.
I
yeah,
literally,
yeah.
'cause it's a big project. It's
Yeah.
another like 6 house development
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
next to our project that we have.
Out on the west side. Yeah.
And so I had to be, because you have to set expectations and roles.
Totally.
Totally.
Especially if there's 3 partners.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just told him, like, guys, like I'll do the money,
Yeah.
bring the money, we'll close
Yeah.
the deal. Like, but I literally
But I'm
cannot.
not involved with anything.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll be a silent partner. I'll help. Of course, I'll help
with
whenever
my
I can.
experience and connections, and you can leverage
Like,
me. But
you can call
yeah.
me, but I ain't going down to the
Yeah,
job
like the
site.
hand. I'm
Yeah.
not doing runs, and
Yeah.
that's cool. But
And it's
Yeah.
not. It's not because I'm above it or anything,
No.
or it's just that honestly, it's not where I shine
Yeah.
either.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
and like Keone, he's a great operator.
Oh,
like,
He
so
is the
good.
man. Like
So-
he would probably do that role the best.
Anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
So-
actually, bro, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. You're like, step aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and in fact, I mean, it was very clear already, you know, that Keone can take charge and Roger can take charge with him, and
Yeah.
side by side they can, you know,
Yeah.
hammer it out. And of course, I'll be right alongside them. But it's good to be honest with yourself. You know,
Totally.
what do you have on your plate? What is your skill sets? You know, and
All those conversations up
Yeah.
front when you go into partner.
because I have a lot of obligations. You know, I manage millions of dollars
Yeah.
of investor capital. I manage, now 17 different guys
Right.
On the team, which is like, if you really have, like, our culture is like, if someone comes on board, like, I'm vested in them.
Right.
They're not just another number in our company. Like, if you're gonna come in, then I'm invested in your career, but also you personally, like how you're
Right.
doing. Like, I know everyone's hardships and everyone's, what drives them.
Yeah.
And so and that takes a lot of energy.
Oh my
know?
gosh,
So
yeah.
I literally cannot go out there every day and
Right.
and handle that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and right away, like, Keone guys, like, I think they rather take care of that.
Yeah.
They
I don't wanna
would,
get- I would
totally.
I would become a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm a liability.
Yeah.
Problem, so
Yeah.
I'll just stay in the background. You guys go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so like in wrapping up, what has been the biggest challenge that you have had to overcome since starting your investing journey?
I think the biggest challenge is leading the team.
Yeah.
Leading the right way, being fair, and because I'm human too, right? I can't have the same face on and have my composure all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I gotta lean on them, and so, but whenever the decision stops at you, right? And even though I have KECO really can't make some decisions in our company, because he's too far removed,
Right,
Just like
right.
how I'm too far removed from some of our
some of
companies
those
are.
ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we circle up to talk about everything,
Right.
and make sure that we're on the same page, and then ask each other's opinion. How would you deal with this or that? And that's great. But at the day-to-days, as the fires start arising,
It's you.
like,
Yeah.
you have to make quick decisions sometimes. Sometimes it's not in favor of, someone who is bringing it to your attention.
Right.
So business is not easy. And the hardest part is collaboration, making
Yeah.
sure that everyone works together. They're considerate of each other's feelings. They can see each other's side. Right.
Right.
And that that we're in this together. We're not a mature company where there's office politics. Like there's no room for that bullshit. Like
Right.
No.
like that's a quick, hard no. So
Yeah.
leadership has been one because I followed for most of my life,
Yeah.
baseball coaches, basketball coaches,
Right.
teachers,
Right.
right? Even in real estate, mentors.
Yep.
And, I think great leaders come from great followers.
Right,
You have to
right,
learn
right.
how to follow. 'Cause
First, yeah.
even if you are leading, sometimes you got to take a step back and then let one of your guys take lead.
Yeah.
Let them shine. Let's see
Yeah.
what they can do. Because that saying, right? Like leaders create leaders. Like
Yeah.
great leaders create leaders.
Right.
Have you guys ever heard of the PayPal Mafia?
PayPal?
PayPal Mafia?
No.
No. You should. There's a documentary on YouTube about it.
Okay.
So Elon Musk and Peter Thiel,
Uh-huh.
people don't know this, but a lot of the early stage employees at PayPal, they have gone on to create LinkedIn,
Wow.
Yelp, YouTube,
No way.
so many different companies. And
Right.
Elon Musk is like,
Yeah.
everything
Everyone
else.
knows.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that's my vision
Yeah.
for our team is that
Right.
we're not just cutting loans. We're not just investing in real estate. We're a part of something special here.
Yeah.
And this isn't the last stop and the only stop for everyone.
Right.
We will go on to do things like even greater than this.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And maybe we'll do them together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone's time will be different, but I want the best for all our guys so that as we go through this journey, right, that we know that we're all growing together and that we're building ourselves. We're building that spirit, the entrepreneur spirit, even higher.
So that was the biggest challenge. We'll flip it. And what do you think or feel has been the biggest triumph or success in your journey thus far?
Oh, these are good questions.
Yeah.
I think the biggest triumph or like something I'm proud of
Yeah.
is that this company, KÉCO Capital specifically, was just an idea. Like KÉCO and I couldn't even think of a name. Like what should we call it?
Right,
And
right.
I was like, I don't care. Like whatever. It's like, no, we should care because this is gonna be
Yeah.
with us forever.
Right.
And
Right.
it's hard to rebrand. Right. So
Yeah.
we couldn't think about it until finally it's like, why don't we just like our main company, our first company is Cory Nemoto Investment Group. It's our last names.
Yeah.
And at first, even that company, we're thinking, what should we call it? Because it's like, you know what? Let's just put our names on there. That way it reminds us every day that, our names are on the line here. Like, I don't want to hide behind an entity,
Yeah.
like I want to be able to stand proud in front of our company,
Yeah.
so it's a reminder to do business right,
Yeah.
and because your name's on it.
Right.
And so when it came to thinking about KÉCO Capital, it was just let's take your first two letters, my first two letters, our name, and just call it KÉCO
Yeah.
Capital.
I love it.
So we rolled with that, and but this venture is my baby.
Yeah.
I've started other companies before, even before real estate. I was in internet marketing. I had an email marketing business. I sold it for not that much money, but it was an exit.
Yeah.
So
You
like
exited. That's cool.
So, but this company, this is different, right? Because this is big boy business. Like there's a lot of money on the line.
Right.
And so the biggest triumph for me is when we finally got the first yes for one of the big institutions to back us, because it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Like literally got laughed at the table, before. And
Yeah.
KÉCO and I we traveled the nation for like a year trying to see if anybody would give us a shot, like asking for meetings that we weren't ready for at the time, and then finally we did get a shot, and there is a company out in New York that backed us, and we were riding with them till COVID.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, it was a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, I think people who made it through that little blip, it only made us stronger. We
Yeah.
came back better than ever,
Right.
Yeah.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think our biggest win for me was finally getting someone to say yes.
Love that.
We'll give you
Perseverance.
millions of dollars to
Right.
go put in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like
not giving up.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like oh hell yeah. It was like
Oh.
all right.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
let's
better
see.
not screw this up.
Yeah. but now today, like we have we have a bunch of institutions that are trying to get our business.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's why I can look back and think like, yeah, that was worth it. You know,
Yeah.
that was
The
biggest
journey is
triumph.
always worth it, man.
Yeah,
It always is.
it is.
So cool.
Okay, so to close, oh wait, do we have
Before-
any question? We have two
questions.
questions for
Okay.
you
Okay.
from the audience.
Oh, are we live?
No,
No,
Oh,
we're
I was
not
gonna
live.
say,
But
I was like, oh, shoot.
she
We put a question box.
she
up.
put
put a
a
question box up. so.
Okay.
Okay, from Dr. Bosk, is there such thing as renovation loans only from a hard money lender?
Is there
Only
such thing
as
as
a renovation loan from a hard money lender. I mean,
Only from a hard money lender. No, you can get renovation loans from anywhere. Private investor.
yeah,
So, but I mean, hard money is we're designed for
For that.
renovation
yeah,
projects. So
yeah.
yeah.
And then Silver Lining Productions said, how do you gauge the experience on a new investor? And does construction background help with like the percentage that they get?
Oh, that's a good
Oh, that's a
question.
good question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good question.
So the way we gauge their experience is we do verify settlement statements.
Yeah.
So like for us, if you've done 5 deals closing to closing and you have settlement statements where your entity is on title, then we can count that as a deal on your track record.
Right.
Once you hit 5, then we give the highest leverages and the lowest rates that we can. And if it's your first deal, you know, if someone's done 3 deals with us, like then we'll classify them as if they did 5, right?
Nice.
So at the highest leverages,
Right.
So there is a little bit of having to earn, you know,
Yeah.
Totally.
earn the right to have these loan products
Yeah.
at those rates and leverages.
Yeah.
But you can also partner with someone who has the track record and maybe do the first few deals with them so that as long as you're on title, because
Yeah.
Right.
if you're a builder who's been building for a decade and built thousands of homes, but you are never owner or on title, then it doesn't count.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because and honestly, like I see sometimes the frustrations of people.
Yeah.
They get upset. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? I
What?
built 1,000 homes.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that might be true. Like they do know, they do have experience, but it's different when you're the guy making decisions and you're the guy signing on the paper. You know, so
100%.
that is important for people to understand. And just because you've been building houses for a decade and built thousands of homes doesn't mean you know how to flip a house.
Right. Because there's
it's
so
different.
much
It's
more that
very
goes into
different.
running a fix and flip business as opposed to the construction component. Yes, that's a very important piece, but it is a piece.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last question, how should a new investor reach out to your company? Should they bring the deal already on hand or can they just have
that's
the
a good
talks
question too. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people
well,
have that one.
One, like I'm open. So anyone can call me. Like
Yeah.
it might take me a little while to get back to you, but I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram, Facebook. I try to go on Instagram. Like I've been kind of slacking. Like I think I'm just gonna dump a bunch of photos on there because
There you
like
go.
it's been a while
Yeah.
actually. But I actually like social media because then you can kind of see each other's
Yeah.
peek into each other's lives. You know, a
Totally.
bit, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's the highlight reel and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
but like it's a little bit less intrusive or maybe less intimidating than calling somebody. But
Yeah.
anyone on our team, and they can go to our website as well and fill out a form.
What's your
Or-
website?
KECOcapital.com. That's
Nice.
KECO capital.com.
Good. Awesome. Last but not least, what impact do you hope to leave with the audience?
I think the impact that I always hope to give, whether it's with our own team or at a meetup, is just inspiration because I feel I'm a normal, regular guy. You know, like I grew up on the windward side, Waimanalo and Kailua, and went to Kailua High School, went through the public school system, and I didn't grow up in a hard environment, you know, but it wasn't easy either.
Right.
You know, money wasn't like something that we could just invest in education,
Right.
you know, or so and if anything, sometimes making it out of the middle class is even harder.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because then you have to battle something called comfort.
Yeah.
And we're all human, and we default to comfort, right? And so unless we have people kind of pushing us, ahead to to help us grow, then some people stay there forever.
Dude, that's
I know so
so
many people in
powerful.
that space. Yep.
It's almost you have something to fight for when you're coming from poverty
Yeah.
or all this stuff. You're fighting because you want to get out
Because
of
you
it.
have to.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, it's like fight or flight.
It's
but when
survival,
you come
yeah.
from middle class and comfort,
It's even more dangerous in a lot of ways.
dude,
Totally.
yeah. It's almost like it's your safety net and it's chains almost keeping you down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
That's
so
cool.
You
good.
got to take risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope I can help inspire, because today, we control millions of dollars worth of real estate. We have teams over 50 now,
Yeah.
like people who we're leading, and I feel we're leading well, or to the best that we can. And we're making an impact, all the benefits that real estate investors provide to local economies. Like I'm loud about that,
Right.
because I truly believe I've seen firsthand the good that comes from us helping homeowners,
Totally.
from helping to provide projects and jobs for contractors, business for realtors, stagers, plumbers,
Yep.
landscapers, photographers,
Every
termite inspectors. I can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of good, and if we can change that stigma and everybody remembers what we're doing and why we're doing it, it's not for the money, it's not for the notoriety, it's for a bigger purpose.
Yep.
Which is we're affecting lives. I'm helping our investors build wealth, and I had a lot of money that was coming up to maturity, and I tried to pay my investors back and they don't want to get paid back.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep it rolling for them.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
gotta find
Yeah.
things where to put it
in,
and
yeah.
I'm responsible for that.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah.
It's an
That's awesome.
honor. I don't
Yeah.
care how small the investment is.
That's what. Yeah.
It's an honor.
It
Yeah.
is. It's
Because
such an honor.
I have never thought in my wildest dreams that someone would hand me a check for $500,000. Just hand me a check
Yeah.
for $500,000 and trust me that much that they're gonna give me their money that they probably worked really hard for.
Very,
That's
very
not
hard
even including
for.
the taxes they had to pay on top of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a $500,000 check is really like a $800,000
Yeah.
check.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they're not the only one. So every time someone invests with us, it's a huge honor.
Yep.
And I take it very serious.
Yeah.
And I feel that a guy like me from Waimanalo, that didn't grow up in finance or didn't have financial education, if I could figure this out, anybody can.
Anybody can.
And it's
Love
it's an awesome journey, one worth traveling for sure.
Yeah.
Woo! Nothing to say after that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Dude, so stoked
Where
we
can
had
people
you.
find you? I know you not necessarily want to be found. You introvert you, but
No, I'd love to be found. I don't think I'm that introverted, but I think I just got so much going on.
I know.
I have so much photos of great things
Yeah,
that'd be awesome to post. I just
No time to do
forget
it.
to put.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can make time. It's
Yeah.
just whenever I post something, sometimes I just post some bullshit. But
Yeah.
Whenever I post something, I try to it has to inspire me
Yeah.
to post it.
Right.
Yeah. So but I'll get it out there. But Instagram would be great. It's just at Cory CORY .Nemoto NEMOTO.
Nice. And then on Fridays you do something too?
Fridays we have our call, our
Yeah.
coffee talk call,
Yeah.
at 10 a.m. Hawaii time, and anyone's welcome to join. We just talk real estate. We've been doing it for 2 years now.
2
It's
years
crazy.
So
every
cool.
Friday. I'm telling you guys,
Yeah.
that is a lot of inspiration
That's the
on
spot.
that call for sure.
Well, you guys do every week too, right?
Yeah,
So
we do.
I know how, and this is actually even more intense because the Zoom, it's just talk story sessions sometimes,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
much prep, but
Yeah.
credit to you guys.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Aloha, everybody.
Bye bye.
It's all good. Get paid, get paid, blow up like